So here we have some Multaflower rose plants that I burned off roughly 3 weeks ago. You can see there's green, grass bulbs and forest, plants, whatever, starting to grow back up in the area that I burned. I'd say this hillside's probably an acre. That's just a little fire I decided to light when I'm down here pissing around, just looking at what progress has been made after burning this about 3 weeks ago. But this hillside was really starting to be overwhelmed with Multaflower rose. It's a pretty steep hill. There's a lot of logs in it. There's been times I've drove a tractor with a brush hog through here, but keep getting stuck on these logs and stuff, and it's just really frustrating. It's gotten out of control to the point where I can't really brush hog this anymore anyway. The Multaflower rose, and there's some honeysuckle starting to get in here, is just taking over. The most economical, cheap way, I guess, to do this, I think, is to burn it. I'm gonna, probably burn this next year again as well. I don't know if I'll do it 3 years in a row, but for sure again next year. It's been about 3 weeks since I burned this. Like I say, some of these Multaflower rose I notice, especially larger plants with a thicker stem. It didn't kill them all the way because I see, a little bit of green on them. It's the grass is starting to green around here, and it looks to me like most of this stuff isn't coming back or greening up yet, but some of it is. Some of it is. I notice live plants, the snow in the wintertime here seems to really knock them down, push them down, lower them down, whatnot have you. And I'm wondering if after next winter I come back down here, if some of these are going to be, pressed down to the ground to where they'll just totally be incinerated, the dead stuff, when it burns again. Next year, I'm not for sure, but it's what I'm hoping. It'd be nice. My flames don't really get 3 or 4 foot high enough to incinerate a 3 or 4 foot high plant, but anyways, yeah, that's it for this video. I'm thinking about making a bunch of videos on the progress of this big mass burn that I've done on this 160 acre section this year. Definitely going to make another video next year, so people can see progress. There's a lot of farms in this county that I live in. You can't even walk through the woods. Cattle don't go in the woods. Deer aren't going in the woods anymore because it's just so overgrown in this shit. You can't get through it, I mean, it's nuts. And it's basically free to burn something. You're not spending hundreds or thousands of dollars and like crossbow chemical to kill this shit, which I've used crossbow many times. A bigger plant still doesn't kill the plant many times. You gotta treat it the next year again, so probably these plants here, I may go ahead and spray this with some crossbow in like June or August, whatever I see that I burn, whatever's coming back, just to knock it down that much more, I'm really curious to see if I can like eradicate this shit out of the timber by burning it multiple times. It's just nuts. I'm 24, and I remember when I was a kid still, when there was no Multaflower rose here. Very vaguely, though. like probably less than 8 years old when that was the case. But you know, something I've noticed, like this is a dirt bike slash four-wheeler path right here. See, there's multiply rows on that side of the path, and on this side there's not, and there never really was. You know, it's like these roots, I think the root system spreads out a little bit more in timbers, especially wet timber, than open grassy areas. Just seems like these paths kind of separate the patches of multiply rows, you know. I mean, if that path wasn't there, I'm going to say that, you know, that'd be just as full as this over here, but it's not, for whatever reason. I don't see the soil type or water moisture content being able to make that much of a difference, you know, 8 feet across the path there. But anyway, this is going to sum it up for this video. I'm using a Motorola phone, you know, to do this, so they kind of suck. I might be using like an iPhone, you know, they're a little bit better for the next video I make, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to make on this channel yet. I'm really into, you know, farming and, you know, four-wheelers, dirt bikes, cars, trucks, stuff like that, so if I had a channel that I was going to use, I'm thinking about doing it, and have a lot of content on the channel. It's going to be very broad. There's going to be a lot of different subjects on the channel. It's not just going to be about multiply rows. But thanks for watching.